Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Welcome to Peter's Movie Club. Now, if you're new over here to Peter's Movie Club, let me explain to you exactly what Peter's Movie Club is. Peter's Movie Club is, well, it's a club where we watch movies. And every week I pick a movie and I announce it on Fridays. And then the following Friday, I discuss the movie and what I thought about that movie. And then I pick another movie. So we're going every Friday. And at this point, I think we've watched like 8 or 9 movies over here. All the movies that I am picking are movies that had some kind of impact on me in my youth, either when I was like growing up, when I was, young or in high school, or, even some of the movies are from like the last, I would say 15 or 20 years. But all of them have some kind of impact on me and have had some kind of impact on my life. So I'm using the streaming app Tubi because it's one of the only streaming apps out there that doesn't charge you to use it, and it's free for anybody to go over there. You don't even have to have an account over there. You can have an account so you can like track the movies that you're watching and keep a list and things like that. It doesn't cost anything to have an account over there. All their movies and TV shows have commercials in them, and that's how they pay for the streaming app to be free. The streaming app Tubi is currently available, I believe, in Mexico, the United States, and Canada, and is coming to the UK sometime this summer, they said. And no, this is not sponsored by Tubi. I just tried to find a streaming app that would work for the majority of people, because if I pick things off of Netflix, people will say, well, I don't have Netflix, and people, so I tried to pick one where the majority of people that are watching these videos could watch them for free, and it wouldn't cost anybody anything. And most of the movies that I am going to talk about over here are so old and have been out for so long that you can find them other places. You can find a lot of them on YouTube. Every time I mention a movie, they'll DM me and they'll say, it's also on YouTube. You can find the whole movie on YouTube. So a lot of them are on YouTube. A lot of them are on Netflix. A lot of them are on other streaming apps. So if you can't find it on Tubi, or you're not someplace where you can watch Tubi, just try to find it someplace else if you want to watch along with us. And so many people have messaged me. Last week I said I didn't feel like it was a lot of people. I think I said it was either last week or the week before. I was like, I think there's like 3 or 5 people that are watching these movies with me. And then after I said that, I just got bombarded with people that were like, oh no, like I'm watching the movies with me. My mom and we're watching the movies that you pick every single weekend. We're having such a fun time. This is so fun. Thank you so much. And so many people are like, oh my God, I watched this movie like 30 years ago and I totally forgot about it. And thank you so much for reminding me of it. And I just want to say, it means a lot to me. The way that this whole thing started, well, I'll tell you guys again, even though I've told you several times, was that during the time of leading up to the total solar eclipse, I wanted to watch the movie Night of the Comet. For some reason, my mind connected like Night of the Comet with a total eclipse, which has nothing to do with each other, right? But then I started and I found it on Tubi, and then I started looking through Tubi, and I was like, Tubi has and I had watched Tubi before. It has a lot of horror movies on it, and I was like, Tubi has all of these like great movies from my past. And I was like, what if every week I started picking a movie and we all watched it together as a movie club? And I was just like, oh my God, I love this idea. This is so much fun, because I love movies. I grew up with both my parents loving movies. My mom especially loved movies. And a lot of the movies that I am picking over here have some kind of memory attached to my mom. And the movie that I'm going to pick today is definitely a movie that my mom loved and watched over and over again through the entirety of her life. So let's talk about the movie from last week. The movie from last week was Teen Witch, okay? Now, I have to tell you what's funny is I kind of forgot to watch the movie for this week until last night, right? And I usually kind of like plan what day I'm going to watch it, depending on like if my husband's going out to dinner with some girlfriends, or if I'm finishing a show on a Friday, then I'm like, okay, then after that I'll watch it. And so I kind of like have it picked what day I'm going to watch the movie. But I had completely forgotten to watch the movie this week. And then last night, the night before, I had finished a couple shows, and then I had started Dead City, which is a spinoff of The Walking Dead, and I had only watched 1 episode of it, and I wasn't even really that into it. And so last night I was sitting here and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to watch. Like, do I want to watch Dead City? I started another show to start binge watching, and I was like, sitting there, I was like, you still have to watch Teen Witch. And I was like, I totally forgot about it, right? So after I got up from my nap last night, I came down here, lit candles, and I started watching Teen Witch. I kind of forgot how much I love this movie. Often when I watch these movies, like I've shared on here that like Waiting to Exhale like is a movie that I have such fond memories of, but when I watched it this time, it didn't hit as hard. Teen Witches, and I know this is going to sound, because the movie is completely corny and cheesy, right? But it's a movie that for me, like, certain things happened and I was like, I totally forgot about this. So if you don't know what the movie is about, Teen Witch is about this girl that finds out that on her 16th birthday, she's gonna inherit all these witchy properties and become a witch, basically, and has been a witch many lifetimes before. And she goes to this psychic that becomes one of her dear friends, who's played by Zelda Rubinstein, who was in the Poltergeist movie. She played the psychic. She's been in a lot of movies through the years and passed away, I think, several years ago. And it's fantastic. And so she goes to her, and she's the one that kind of walks her through becoming a witch. And so she can make anything happen that she can, basically all she has to say is, I wish this, I wish that, and it just kind of like happens, right? And she's kind of learning her powers and things like that. And what she wants is, she wants to be popular. She's like skipped a grade, and so she's like a year ahead of where she should be, and people make fun of her. They say like, you know, should you even be in high school and things like that. And she's got a crush on like the most popular guy in high school, whose name is Brad, and he is dating the most popular girl in school, who lives incidentally right across the street from her. Her name is Randa. I think it's Randa, and she lives right across the street from her. A little story, I'm going to tell you about them in just a second. So anyway, she does these, and she has got this friend, her best friend, that like always has her back, that's kind of like nerdy and on different like her, and so she starts getting these powers, and she starts testing them out. For example, one of the scenes, which is like the most famous scene from this movie, is that her friend, Polly, who's like her best friend, likes this guy, and this guy is like a rapper on the show. He's always doing like all these raps. By the way, did you know that there was a Teen Witch, the musical? I started looking up some of these songs last night on iTunes, and I was not aware that Teen Witch had a musical. There's a whole musical with these songs in there. So he's doing this, he always does these like choreographed rap routines with these two friends of his. His name is Rhett in the movie, and she's got a crush on him, her friend Polly. And so she's like, Louise is the main girl's character, played by Robin Lively. And she's like, go up and just like talk to him, you know? And she's like, no, I could never. And so she does like her witchy magic, and he's doing this rap, and she goes up, and the song is called Top That. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. There's a ton of memes online about it, where she's like, top that, and she does all this stuff. So anyway, so she like rap battles with him on the street, and then he gets interested in her after that. So that's like one of the cutest scenes in the movie. By the way, I looked up a lot of the cast. For anybody out there that watched this movie, that's one of the most fantastically corny movies that I've ever seen in my entire life. There's actually quite a few people in there that I was like, these people look familiar. Like Zelda Rubinstein has been in other things. Robin Lively has obviously, that played Louise, the main character, has been in other things. Her friend Polly has been in other things. The one friend of the popular girl, I kept on watching her, and her name is like, well, the singer, who's Shauna, she's been in other things. But then the one friend of hers, I can't remember what, her name is Sean in the movie, because I looked her up last night. You're like, Peter, how do you remember these names? Because I looked them all up. I looked every single one of their Wikipedias up last night to see where they still were. And Sean, I was like, this girl looks so familiar to me, was actually one of the best friends in Can't Buy Me Love. If you watch the movie Can't Buy Me Love, which I loved back in the day. So that might be another pick for the movie club later this year. But anyway, and she was in a couple other movies too. So, but what I was going to say was, so I started looking up these people. Robin Lively, I had no clue. I didn't even, like, when I thought of her last name, I didn't even think about this. So I looked her up because I wanted to see where she's at today. She still looks fantastic today. And she's like exactly my age. Like, she's 52, and her birthday was in February, so we're literally like 6 months apart. Which is so weird that this movie came out in 1989, so I would have been like her exact age when this movie came out, which is crazy. What I didn't know about her is she's the half-sister, to Blake Lively. They both have the same mother, and she's 15 years older than Blake Lively, and they're very, very close. Like, she says something in there, some article about she sees herself as like the funnier older aunt to Blake Lively, even though she's like her half-sister. I had no idea that they were related. The other thing that's funny is, if you watch the movie, she has this romance with this guy Brad, okay, who's like the most popular guy in high school, who apparently has gone on to do other things, but not like great things. But he's dating at the same time the girl across the street. Her name's Rana. I think it's Rana, just Rana. And I've never seen this girl before in any other movie. I didn't think she was a one-hit wonder. And so I'm like looking him up, and I'd already looked up the whole cast, so I knew like what Rana's picture looked like. He's married to her. Like, they met on the set of Teen Witch, and they got married, because the movie came out in 1989, so they got married like a year later, and they've been married ever since Teen Witch. So, see, some dreams do come true. But anyway, so I loved the movie. I have to tell you, I mean, it's an hour and 34 minutes long. It was so cute, and it's really about, you don't really need magic to pursue your dreams, and you know, Louise has all these powers, and she wants to be the most popular girl. She becomes the most popular girl. But really what she wants is she wants people to like her for who she is, and she doesn't want magic to have to do the job. It's a great message, but it's a very corny movie. It's a cheesy movie, but it was great. I loved it. And it was one of the only movies that we've watched so far that, like, my memory of it was less than watching it for the second time. Like, I watched it this time and I was like, oh my god, I like love this movie. Like, I could watch this movie again. It's so cheesy and it's so corny. I mean, it's not a movie that I would sit there and watch like this, but if to have it on in the background or something, yeah, absolutely. I didn't remember it being such, it's not, I wouldn't consider it a musical, but there are a lot of musical numbers in there. There's a whole scene in, like, and a lot of the jokes are pretty mature, I would say, too, but there's a whole scene in, like, the girls' locker room when they do this whole, it's fantastic because it reminded me of, like, every girl's hairdo that I went to high school with, which was like permed and like, you know, hair sprayed back and the state fair hair claw that's like in front, you know, and all that stuff, that they all have that same hairdo. And they do this entire, it's like a 5-minute dance routine to this song, and in the shower, and she's like watching not the shower, but like in the locker rooms, and they're jumping on top of the lockers, and she's watching this whole thing. There's like 4 or 5 different like musical montages, including the very end when she and the guy that she's in love with do the dance where they like go like this. I don't know how they do it, and they just like spin into it. Like, it's so funny because it's so contrived, but I love it. So anyway, and I do have to tell you that I downloaded the song. This is why my iTunes is so corny, okay? I downloaded this song, and they didn't have the original, which was by, I looked it up, hold on a second. The original was by, I'll remember it here in just a second, Never Gonna Be the Same Again, which was, I looked it up last night who it was originally by, but the original person isn't, I can't remember what her name is, but anyway, her version isn't on there, so I had to buy it from the Teen Witch musical. It's the song that they play at the beginning and the end of the movie. Okay, so let me tell you though, this moment that I had last night while I was watching this, because before I started it, the Leaving Soon section came up on Tubi for me, and I've talked about this before, that like a lot of the movies are in the Leaving Soon category. Like, they're just, and you never know when they're gonna leave, because all of a sudden they'll just have like a 7-day on it, which means they're gonna be gone in 7 days. So I was looking through here and I was like, okay, now my list of movies that are on the Leaving Soon list are like 8. There's like 8 movies over there, right? And I'm like, I'm kind of being dictated. Like last week, I had so much fun last week though, just picking a random movie. Like that was fun. We'll do that again in the future. June, since it's my birthday in June 29th is my birthday, I think June is going to be filled with probably movies that have had the most meaning to me in my life. So June will be filled with those. But because it's the beginning of summer, well, this is what I was going to say before. So when I was looking through the list last night, I was like picking movies that were on this 8 list, and I was like, you know, like I picked movies that like, I mean, like Waiting to Exhale and How Stella Got Her Groove Back, like really are like remind me of a certain period of my life. Other movies like Night of the Comet remind me of high school, but a lot of these movies that I picked so far, like Wait Until Dark with Audrey Hepburn, like my mom loved that movie, but they're not movies that like I remember watching when I was younger, or like a lot of the movies that I watched when I was younger, I also watched like, you know, in my early 20s and later and stuff like that, that like really profoundly impacted me as a person. And I was like, you know, I want to start picking some of those movies. Like I want to pick movies that have really changed me into the person that I am today. And so I was looking through here and I was trying to pick a movie for summer, to start summer, because this weekend is Memorial Day weekend. We just found out our pool is opening tomorrow. So happy Memorial Day weekend. And I wanted to pick a movie to kind of like set summer off with. And I was also looking through the list, and I have like 4 or 5 of movies that were kind of summer movies, but at the same time, like really like have affected me and like affected my my outlook on life and things like that. And so the movie that I picked, okay, is an Academy Award winning movie, and I haven't actually watched it for a long time, and I'll tell you, it was one of my mom and my aunt's favorite movies of life. And I remember that I think the last time that I watched it was actually with my mom before she passed away. And I just remember my mom, like, at that time, because my mom was 64, and it's about somebody like, and it's weird watching this movie because my husband's going to be, he's turning 40 this month, and it's about somebody like as they're getting older, and two different people aging and what they can still do at that age and things like that. And the person that is like, the person that they're talking about, that's, well, the movie's On Golden Pond. So if you've never seen On Golden Pond before, it is absolutely fantastic. It's, let me read you. It's on, hold on, it says Tubi, it's on Pluto, it's free on Peacock. It's a lot of places for free. YouTube, it has it on here. Apple TV, you can rent it. So it's got it a lot of different places. So if you don't know what On Golden Pond is about, On Golden Pond, and it won, let me see, it won Academy Award for Best Actor for Henry Fonda in a leading role, Best Actress for Katharine Hepburn for a leading role, and for Adapted Screenplay. Cantankerous retiree Norman Thayer, played by Henry Fonda, and his conciliatory wife, Ethel, played by Katharine Hepburn, spend summers at their New England vacation home on the shores of idyllic Golden Pond. This year, their adult daughter, Chelsea, played by Jane Fonda, visits with her new fiancé and his teenage son, Billy, Doug McKeon, on their way to Europe. After leaving Billy behind to bond with Norman, Chelsea returns attempting to repair the long-strained relationship with her aging father before it's too late. So I don't know if you guys remember this movie, if any of you have watched it or you are my age, but this is the movie where Jane Fonda, this was in her life where she had started doing the Jane Fonda workouts, and she got really into shape, and this was the movie where she did the backflip off of the thing, and it went like crazy. Like, it was, I can remember like every adult talking about this scene with Jane Fonda when she hasn't done it since she was like a kid. And it's really about her repairing her relationship with her dad as she's gotten older. I think in the movie she may have just turned 40 or something like that, because I think it was around that time that, let's see when the movie came out. Let's see how old she would have been, because my mom was born in 43. The movie came out in 1981. My math is not great. 1981 minus 1943. My mother would have been 38. So if Jane Fonda was at the same age or 40 at that time, I think that's probably why my mom would have really greatly related to this movie. And it's weird, like, I don't know why I got so emotional thinking about this movie. I haven't watched this movie in so long, so I want to start picking movies over here that have had this kind of impact on me and have really changed me as a person. If you've never seen the movie On Golden Pond, it's fantastic. The music is fantastic. I mean, it's an Academy Award winner. It's got, you know, Katharine Hepburn in it. I love Katharine Hepburn. My mom loved Katharine Hepburn. But it's a really, really sweet movie. It's very sad, I will tell you that, but it's a very, very sweet movie. And it's also about this kid that's kind of a city kid, and he stays on Golden Pond for the summer, and Henry Fonda kind of like there's fishing scenes, like he takes them fishing and all this kind of stuff, and there's like, anyway, it's just a great movie. It's a great movie to start the summer with. So this week's pick is On Golden Pond. I hope that you guys will watch it with me. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.